3, 2, 1. Live from Los Angeles, the entertainment capital of the world, it's the Talk Show Maven Tonight Show, starring Raven Blair Glover. Tonight's guests are the world's foremost reinvention expert, talk show host, and New York Times best-selling author of What Is Your What, Steve Olsher, global brand strategist, international empowerment speaker, Sade Adu, seminar host, best-selling author, speaker, and world-renowned internet marketer, it's none other than Willie Crawford. And you guessed it, our very own love, sex, and happiness expert, Parrish Michelle Blair, sharing insider secrets from the entrepreneur's guide to the art of intimacy, finding the balance between work and pleasure. And now, we invite you to sit back, relax, kick your shoes off, grab your favorite drink, and get ready to have some all-around fun. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Raven.
All right, all right. Woo-hoo. Y'all ready to party tonight? Yes. All right. Bam, bam, bam. Woo-hoo. Hello and welcome to the Talk Show Maven Tonight Show. Hi, I'm Raven Blair Glover, known by many as Raven the Talk Show Maven, queen of interview marketing and interview conversion, because I show you how to make some money, honey, simply by doing interviews. Yes. And I'm so glad you're here. I do a lot of shows, but this show is for you and me, for us to unwind, relax, kick our shoes off, and, just have some fun. This is, I call my free to be me, free to be you, and you show. So welcome again. We're so glad to have you. Absolutely. And you know what? I want to start off before we bring on our amazing guests. I want to start off, first of all, talking to you about how wonderful it is to be in a week of just gone through a week where we didn't have to think about voting. That is over. It's behind us. Hey, Trump won. Let it go. Let it go. There's nothing you can do about it. Control the controllable. And I know it's tough, but you got to let it go. You got to move on. You got to push past it. Now, we're going to be sprinkling in some conversations we've had in the past week or so, mainly the day right after. And I spoke to a couple other people just the other day. So when we come back after the holiday, we're going to, share a few of those video clips before and after the show of people giving you different insights as to how they're feeling, what they're expecting now that Trump is elected president, and how they're pushing past their pain. Now, there's a couple of people we spoke to that voted for Trump, so we want to hear from them too. And they're going to also share what they are looking forward to and what they are kind of regretting. Okay, so we're just going to get it out and share it with the world, because that's what I do. I go out and interview people about interesting things, and I want to hear your opinion. Yeah, I want to hear your opinion. So if you have something to say, call my 800 number, 1-800-431-0842, 1-800-431-0842, and leave your message. Leave me your message, and we'll play it on air. We want to hear your insight. We want to know, what are you expecting Trump to do? What are you regretting? Yeah, call me, 1-800-431-0842, okay? Or email me at talkshowmaven@gmail.com, and I will call you, and we'll record it on video if you want to be on video. But if not, just record it on the 800-431-0842 number, and we'll record your voice. And if you want to send me a picture, talkshowmaven@gmail.com. That's my message for today. I'm so excited about our guests. We have a great lineup, and I'm very, very excited to bring them to you. And we're going to go ahead and get started with our very first guest. So I want you to get comfortable and get ready for a nice, cozy, long, a wonderful, entertaining, and informative evening on this Thursday. Talk Show Maven Tonight Show, if you're just tuning in. And this person here is one of my mentors, new mentors. His name is Steve Olsher. Now, Steve is our very first guest. And let me tell you, this is a quote straight from him. This is what he says. I'm just a kid from Evanston, Illinois, who has gone from waiting tables, pumping gas, and selling speakers out of the back of a van. So he's literally went from selling speakers to being a speaker. Yes, he's an amazing speaker. He is also a awesome mentor, trainer, and best-selling author. Yes, and so much more. Let me tell you, Steve Olsher's practical, no holds barred approach to life and business propels his clients towards achieving massive profitability while also cultivating a life of purpose, conviction, and contribution. Let me tell you, if you stand and sit down, and if you sit and stand up, because he's here, I'm talking about Steve Olsher. And the crowd is roaring, 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 roaring. All right. Calm down. He's here. Hey, Steve, as you see, everyone's excited about you being here. So, Steve, your book, What is Your What? Amazing book. What made you come up with that title?
It was one of those moments where I had to try to figure out something fancy to call that one thing that you're really just meant and made to do. And I kept thinking, like, what am I going to call it? What should I call it? What should I call it? And I was like, oh, I'll just call it that. So
just call it what it is, huh?
Just call it what it is. What? Exactly. I never did come up with a name. So that's what is your what? I just couldn't come up with the name. So that's what we ended up with.
I love it. Now, let me see. This is a bestseller?
New York Times bestseller.
Oh my God. Don't get it twisted. New York Times bestseller. Love it. Love it. So, do you feel like most people are missing understanding what their real purpose in life is? What is their what? Is that what made you decide, I need to say something about this? There's, a lot of people are missing this. They're doing stuff and they're forgetting what their purpose and their cause is.
Yeah, I mean, twofold, right? So in author land, they say that you write the book that you most need. And for me, that was, really a question that I've had my entire adult life anyway, just trying to figure out exactly what that is that I'm meant and made to do. But what came really clear to me is that after doing Myers-Briggs and What Color's Your Parachute and Strengths Finders and all of those things, it really left me with more questions than answers. Is that it's not really about finding something necessarily as much as it's about finding how you're naturally wired to excel, and then really applying that in a meaningful way to the people that you're most compelled to serve. And that to me really defines what the what is your what framework is, as opposed to some of the other ways that people like to think about it in terms of your passion or those sort of words that people throw around kind of lackadaisically. And reality is that passions come and go. What's in your DNA stays.
All right. So here's the thing. If we don't figure out what's our real what is, Mr. Steve Olsher, what's going to happen? Why is that so important?
It really is a matter of, do you feel sufficiently fired up to jump out of bed every day, right? And do you feel like there aren't enough hours in the day to get done what you've got to do? And if things that transpire in your life really weigh down on you, then you've got a pretty clear understanding, or at least you've got some pretty good clues there, that you probably aren't sufficiently pursuing what it is that puts fire in your soul, or as I call it, you've really put your finger on what your what is. And so that's what ends up happening. If you don't have that one thing, and that one thing changes over time, right? I mean, I think that's where a little bit of the misnomer and sort of the misunderstanding comes in here. Is it doesn't mean it's one thing that you have to do for your entire life. It just means that
Hmm.
it's one thing that you were really meant and made to do for now, and that evolves over time. So yeah, when you don't have it, it's pretty clear that life is throwing you some curveballs that you don't really know how to deal with.
I know for me, it took a while. I was 55 years old, Steve, before I even knew what my what was. And you know what it was? It was being there for my mom because she was
Mm.
ill in the hospital. She was in the ICU unit. I was 55, making $10 an hour, working 20 hours a week, as you know, because you had me on your show. And that was my wake up call. That's when I realized that there was a purpose. And my purpose at that time was to be there for her because she had been there for me, for and us,
Yeah.
between failed marriages and failed jobs and stuff. And I realized this, and this is why I love your book, is once we tap into what our real what is, I was calling it why, but I love your what spin on it, then that's when things begin to move forward for us. Wouldn't you agree?
Mm. Yeah, and that is truly what happens. There just won't be, as I said, enough hours in the day to get done what you got to get done. You'll wake up with that fire in your soul, and things that used to bother you will carry a lot less weight. But just for clarity's sake, the the way that I look at it is, and don't get me wrong, I love the whole concept of your why, right? I mean, Simon Sinek, I had him on our show, Reinvention Radio, which you were on as well,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about this. And to me, your why is really everything that is external. It's what you choose. Like, you want to do what you do so you can take care of your mom, right? Or you want to feed starving children in the slums, or you want to provide clean drinking water for a remote village, or whatever that why might be. It's everything that is external. In other words, you can choose what your why is. I believe that your what is that which has chosen you, and it's internal. And there's
Ooh,
nothing you can really do about it other than live in denial.
yeah, yeah. I love that. I love it. Okay, I have got to ask you about this because I'm just curious. I mean, I know you ride a bike. Where did that passion come from?
I've been roading. I've been riding
Roadie?
motorcycles for for a long time. I started back in my teens, and I just like the wind through my hair, Raven, and those long, slow walks on the beach, and those those sort of days and nights. But no, it's a speed thing. I mean, really just being out there and having the speed, and just being kind of one with the outdoors, but still having the ability to traverse through it. And there would be one of the bikes, yeah.
I love
But
that.
having the
That's a
ability to
nice
kind of go through.
bike.
I like that bike. Yeah, it's more of a cruiser style bike. I like that. And of course, when we took that shot, we did that one illegally because you got to have helmets on over here in California.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Love it. Now that bike looks pretty big, Steve. What kind is it?
I don't think I have that one anymore. That was a few years back, maybe 2 or 3 years back. I think that one was a. I think that might have been an 1800. That was a pretty big bike.
Do you get a chance to ride often?
Much less so now than I have, but that's mostly just because I work out of the house. I ain't got nowhere to go. I gotta get out of this. I gotta get out of this house and do something. I walk my kids to school, or my kids walk home by themselves, and I work out of the house. I ain't got nowhere to go. I gotta figure. I gotta get some hobbies.
You sound like me. I'm like always in the house, always in the house. Okay, I had a chance to be on your amazing podcast. I'm going to put this picture up here real quick. Reinvention Radio. How long you been doing that? I mean, it's you and I forgot your crew's name, but you
Yeah.
guys are funny.
Uh,
I like funny.
yeah. Now we have a
About your
good time.
show.
Thank you. Now I've been doing Reinvention Radio off and on since 2009. So been doing it now for quite some time, but in its current iteration with Mary and Rich and Wade and the gang that we've got over there. We do it sort of as a morning zoo style show, if you will. That crew has been together now for going on almost 2 years.
Mm. And what's their names again?
Mary is my female co-host, who I know you had a chance to chat with, and Rich, who also
Rich,
joins the
yeah,
crew.
that's the guy.
Yep, and then Wade hangs out with us as well.
I tell you what, you guys, here's the thing: when you have a crew, you have a team like that, the synergy and the energy have got to blend well, and you guys do. I don't know what you do off the air, but I know on the air as a guest, it was like a natural blend. And that's important when we partner up. I know you've partnered up with different people, you're partnering up on your show. And there's a lot of people, especially doing live streaming and shows and in business, that are thinking about, I think I want to do something and team up. Do you think that's something people need to really kind of meditate on? Or what do you think are the pros and what do you think are the cons? I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, look, reality is that we can only do so much by ourselves, right? I mean, there's only so much we can do alone. Nothing massive has ever been accomplished by one person alone. And so there is certainly something to be said for putting people on the team, but they have to share in a singular vision, right? And I think ultimately that's what delineates good partnerships from partnerships that are strained, which is really understanding and having just mutual consent about what that vision is, but also having a clear game plan about how you are going to achieve whatever that vision, that goal is, and then make sure that the assignments or the tasks or the responsibilities that it takes to get to that goal as it's divided up amongst whoever your team is, you really got to make sure that there's no overlap there. I mean, I think part of the struggle for most is most solopreneurs, most entrepreneurs for that matter, they're really the general. And part of what makes it difficult to partner well with someone is when you have two people both trying to be the general, or you have two people who believe that they are the general and one who wants to treat the other like a subordinate. And when you find yourself in that situation where you feel you bring a certain amount of skill and a certain amount of talent to the table and a certain amount of ability, and then you find that talent and skill and ability compromised because there are overlapping skills and talents and abilities, something's got to give, right? And what ends up happening usually in that situation is if you've got two generals or more, that's not going to last. And it takes a very rare relationship for that to last.
Yeah, kind of like women used to say, "Too many cooks in the kitchen" or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Too many fellas with their hands on the trigger.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Well, here's the thing. I've never tried a partnership as far as business, but I did have a friend I brought in, a really good friend, Regina Baker. Shout out to Regina if you're tuning in. And when I started on CNN, I said, I want to team up with Regina. She's just been someone that supported me for a long time. And then later, what happened is Regina got busy with her business and she had to go, and I felt like I was starting all over myself. It felt strange, Steve. I was like, where's Regina? I remember the first show I had to do without her. It's like, I felt like a little lost puppy.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, to that point, Raven, I think that we do tend to lean on other people often as a sign of our own personal insecurities and our own perceived weaknesses, where we feel like we need to bring someone else in who may be strong in those areas where we are weak. And there is a big difference between hiring out for talent when you have someone that is good at something in particular that you may not be good at, there's a big difference between hiring out for talent and bringing someone on as a partner. And I think that's an important conversation you got to, as you said, sit down and meditate on.
Yeah, yeah, definitely got to meditate on it, yeah, for sure. Now, Steve, I want to know something interesting, funny, something you never ever share that's exclusive for the talk show, maybe tonight show. What you got to say? What you got to say? What you got to say, Steve?
So let's see. Hey, not a lot of people know this, but I owned a nightclub when I was 19, and the name of that nightclub was the Funky Pickle.
The Funky Pickle.
The Funky Pickle, exactly. Not a lot of people know that one.
Absolutely, you heard it first right here on the talk show, Maven Tonight Show, and don't you dare forget it. The Funky Pickle. Okay, so you danced and you had crazy and just where was that? What city?
That was when I was back in Illinois. So now I'm in California. Yeah, back in the day.
What you got new going on that you want to share with our listeners before you go, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Reinvention Radio, and Reinvention Radio is definitely something that I encourage people to check out when you can. iTunes, Stitcher, the usual suspects. And other than that, I mean, I've been in the online world for a long time. We launched on CompuServe's Electronic Mall in '93, and so I'm still very much active in the online world. Still own liquor.com, like what you drink, liquor.com. And
wow.
So we got some exciting things going on there as well.
What's liquor.com?
Liquor.com is all about mixology and cocktail culture. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got a pretty decent thing going on over there. We got almost 2 million on the subscriber list. About 36 million uniques hit the site, and relationships with all the biggest brands in the world. So it's we got a good thing going on over there.
My goodness, man, I tell you what, you just got so much going on, and everything is like different stuff. So it's not like it's all on one niche, so to speak.
Yeah.
How did that happen? You got a lot of passions.
Yeah, you stumble into some things, and other things you just feel drawn to, and you can't deny it. I mean, for me, radio's always been that first love. I mean, I think you probably share that as well, Raven. And it's one of those things where just the microphone calls me. And so some of those things just call to you, and other things you kind of find yourself in front of by happenstance or dumb luck. And that's a lot of what happened with liquor.com, and certainly with some of the stuff that happened in the music industry when I was doing that. But yeah, reality is I just can't sit still. If I don't have a few different things on the plate, I go hungry.
You go hungry, huh? That's as simple as that, right? Well, it was really great to have you here. I'm so excited. I mean, really, thank you for coming on. Thank you for having me on your show. That was awesome. It was fun.
Yeah, that was good fun.
Had a good time, and to finally have you here on my new show makes me happy.
I appreciate you having me on, huh?
And of course, you'll be back. As who was that? The governor used to say, "I'll be back," right?
The governor. Yeah.
There you guys have it. That is Steve Olsher. Make sure you check out his book, What is the What? And Steve, give them your website and the time of your show, and then we're going to get ready to bring on Miss Sade. But before we go, give your website one more time.
Yep. So to grab a free copy, we give away actually the book itself. You can go to whatisyourwhat.com/free. So whatisyourwhat.com/free. And then if you want more information about me, just throw in my name, steveolsher.com.
That's right, guys. And he's known as the world's foremost reinvention expert and famous for helping individuals and corporations become exponentially clear on their what. So what is your what? You got to know it for sure. There he is, Steve Olsher, live right here on the Talk Show Maven Show. Steve, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll have you back once again.
All right, sounds good. Take care. Keep up the amazing work.
Okay, thank you, guys. Now, I met Sade on Blab. the place we don't talk about much. That's where I met her at, and I thought she was amazing. Actually, Sade and I have been back and forth on each other's podcasts and just all kind of stuff. So she's just a thrill to be here. I love her. She's got a lot of energy. Went to see her speak a couple weeks ago. Her and Cookie Johnson. Yes, she was up there with the big wigs. Yes, she was, and she did an amazing job. She was just as good as Cookie and all the rest of them. So, woohoo! Welcome to the show. From one queen to another. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me on. This is actually my first time on Blue Jeans. I've heard about it, so now I get an opportunity to debut on this platform with the phenomenal Raven. So I'm so excited. The talk show Maven on your new show. So
thank you so much for having me. Tonight show. Right here. It was great seeing you with Cookie Johnson and all the stars.
Oh, that was phenomenal. Thank you so much for joining us.
I told you I was going to come, didn't I?
Yes, and you showed up. Yes. So that's the great thing about live streaming social media platforms. It's so amazing to talk to people on them, but when you meet them in person, it just makes it a million times better.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. I definitely was not going to let you come this close to me and not go. Remember, I started asking you like a month. I was like, I got to get there. I got to get there. Were you surprised to see me?
Yes, but I was happy. You were like one of the first people I saw when we entered the room. There were at least 300 or 400 people in that room. So I know. I was happy to see a familiar face.
Well, you rocked it, girl. You sound great. I love your personality. You guys, if you want to book somebody for your event, Sade's the girl. And if she
all right,
Raven.
I'm going to take that as a testimonial.
No, you were amazing. You were amazing. So we met on Blab.
Yes.
About a year ago. And we just, one of those things, right? We just kind of connected.
And over a year ago on Blab. I think I may have first saw you on Periscope. And I was like, who is this lady dancing? She seems very interesting. And then we fully connected on Blab.
Yeah. I think I reached out to you because I seen you on Periscope and I was like, okay, I want to get her on my show, and I remember when the first time I seen you, you were going out on a date with this guy for the first time and you were telling all your Periscopers. Do you
remember? No, but it's probably good that I don't remember.
Yeah, you were going out on a date and you were talking to your fans about going out and I think I know what it was. He was trying to rush you to finish and you were doing your Periscope.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Like, I'm coming. I got to do my Periscope.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh, yeah. And then, I remember. I know exactly.
That was a long time ago. So how are you and him doing? Is he still around or what?
He is no longer around. That was really a long time ago. Because when you rush me off my Periscope, you don't need to be in my life anymore.
He wasn't no longer around. He wasn't the one. Okay. Well, I just love your energy and you're so real and you're so authentic. And girl, I got to tell you, you are rocking this white outfit. Now you're all about branding, and one of the things that you brand yourself, one of the ways I see you brand yourself, Missy, is the fact that you just take a lot of gorgeous pictures.
Well, let me say there is a team who believes in the dream who makes that happen. This photo shoot, I wanted to do something different and give myself a level of freedom that I normally don't allow myself to have. And I got some help. I actually, had a stylist for that particular photo shoot who was in control of my hair and my makeup and the location and vicinity. And I just kind of said, you see how I am. What do you see for me? Yeah. And sometimes it's so important as entrepreneurs, speakers, authors, people who want to serve the world that you allow other people to serve you too. So it was so important to have her, shout out to Carmen in Philly/Baltimore, to have her just unlock her gift of styling.
Yeah. Now you look like you're skipping there. I love
Yes, because we have to have our dancing, our fun, and moving photos. We were in like an alley and cars were coming. So I was nervous. I was like, oh, I don't want to get hit. But the photos came out phenomenal. There was a phenomenal photographer in Philadelphia who did just an amazing job.
Yeah, you definitely are photogenic. So let's talk about branding. Your 3 top tips for branding would be what?
My 3 top tips stay the same. As someone who's helped coaches, speakers, authors, actresses, and actors build profitable online brands. Number 1, you need to know who you are. Everything that you do really needs to embody their you-ness. Talking about these photos, there's life and energy. That's a really big part of my brand. So you want to make sure that there's you in your brand. That's super important.
You in
The
your
next,
brand.
you
Let's
want to
let's
make
stop right
sure
there because that's pretty cool. You want to make sure there's you in
in
your
your brand,
brand. I
because
love that.
when we have a lot of newbies that are coming out, so many times we look at what's already currently in the marketplace, and a lot of times we imitate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the key to being you is just to be okay with being you. And a lot of times when we first start out, we feel insecure, we feel uneasy, we're not sure whether or not people are going to gravitate towards us. Everyone in the world, wherever you are, the biggest question that we have is, do people like us?
Mm.
Even if we don't think that is the case, we are very concerned about what other people, self-acceptance. There's acceptance from our peers and our community, and also self-acceptance. So the key to really creating a powerful brand is to accept yourself. And when I did this new photo shoot, that's what it was. That's what the theme was. I'm coming into my own. I'm excited about my expertise and how I serve the world. And I just want you to know that I own it and I'm confident about it.
Own it, baby. Own it.
Is really about owning it and being okay with being you, as silly and weird and as awkward as you may be. Be you. That's number 1. Number 2 is you need to know your audience. So many people create products and services because they want them, or they feel like my audience needs this. Find out who your audience is, or they think everyone needs what they have, which is not the case. I primarily work with women entrepreneurs who are high achievers, overachievers, who really want to step out into their purpose work and build profitable online brands. So I make it clear about who I work with. I know that my audience is fashionable, so they like to wear clothes and they like to wear jewelry and they love wearing makeup. So my brand displays those things visually. I know that they like to travel and go places and they like to have fun. So those are the things that I also display in my brand, because I know it is going to attract the people that I want to work with. That's super important. You know, I had a coach who always said, women attract. We don't have to chase because we attract. So you want to attract who you want to work with. And that has to flow fluently through your brand. You have to embody what you want. And a lot of times we feel like we have to be multiple things to everyone. No, be the right things to the right one. So there's an alignment of you, alignment of your right audience, and be very crystal clear about the demographics, the psychographics, where they live, what they like to do, what they like to eat. You want to be very specific, because when I say about food, is your audience a Costco audience? They like to buy in bulk, or maybe your audience shops at Whole Foods. They're very health conscious, or maybe they like Trader Joe's. Like, even knowing the supermarkets that your audience goes to is super important. Do you have does your audience shop at Walmart versus Target? Do they go to Tiffany's to buy jewelry? You need to know what their habits are. Are they someone who's going to drive a Maserati or a minivan? The Maserati person and the minivan person are 2 different people. So it's super important that you get clear about your audience. Number 3 is that once you know who you are, you know who you serve, you can create a profitable experience for that particular audience based on what you know how to do. People will pay you more for what you know than what you do. So you want to create things that your audience wants, not necessarily what they need. I say sprinkle in what they need, but give them what they want. So many people rather give their audience what they think they need, and that's why nobody's buying it. You have to give people what they want. People want, for me, greater brand visibility. They want to know how to skyrocket their brand leveraging social media and live streaming. They want to know how to get speaking opportunities and how to be seen by the right people. I know that they may need some mindset work. I know we need to do some target market research. I know that we need to do some product development. I know what they need, but I give them what they want, and then I sprinkle in what they need. So those are my 3 major brand building blocks. Know who you are.
They're great blocks.
And create a product that they actually want.
Okay, so if somebody is not quite sure where to begin with, actually doing the work and finding, okay, how do I figure this out about my people? Because it's easy to say that, as it's really easy to say that, but if they don't understand it, what to even look for, where the heck do they begin?
Part of it is, so when you're first starting out, you will not necessarily know who your audience is. I am a millennial. Most people think that my clients are mostly millennials, when in actuality, I have a nice population of baby boomers, some Gen Xers, and a couple of millennials. But most of my audience is older than me. And it's just because of who I am. So when you step into who you are, because I'm definitely an old soul, self-proclaimed old soul. When you step into who you are, your audience will start getting information for you, and they will tell you who they are. They will say, oh, you can help me. This is how I need you to help me. But before that happens, you have to take a guess, make a gamble. Who do you want to work with? Who do you want to work with? And then based on who you want to work with and who you think you can help, ask people who are like that. Many times you are probably your ideal client. In many cases, shapes, and forms, you were your first client. So find people who are like you and start talking to them. One of the best ways we're doing it right now, interviews. Interview them. Ask them questions. They will tell you exactly what they're struggling with and what they need and what they want from you. I did that in October of 2015. I interviewed over 40 entrepreneurs, and all of them had to filled out a form. And I said, what are you struggling with? What is stopping you from being great? And out of 40, let's say at least 80% were struggling making money. And one of the reasons they were struggling was because they didn't have a product. So I said, how are you going to make money if you're not selling anything? That's not congruent with what you want to do. So we had a challenge in November. We had over 150 people register for that. I believe 30 to 40 people actually created digital programs, products, and services. We had new authors. We had new courses. We had even someone who created music. They created digital downloads of music that they were selling. So now that there's a product that you can sell, you can monetize your brand. So, and that idea, and I created a course based on that, based on what the struggle was of my audience. So sometimes you have to sit down and talk to people. It took time to speak to 40 people, but it was entirely worth it because I knew that what I was creating was exactly what they told me they wanted.
Yeah, well, I know about that. I did one with 54 people, girl. And whoo. Yeah, it does. But how I feel about interviews. Interview. Absolutely. Great way. You made a great product. You built your list and all that stuff. So, good job for you. That was a lot of work. You had actress Kim Coles on. You had, oh, wow. I can't even think of all the people. You had me.
Summit had a lot of people. People ask me, when am I doing it again? And I'm saying, whew, you don't know how much work went into that. And that was just a catalyst of knowing the next step is once you finally start building a brand, people will start paying attention to you. Yeah. And when you're in this industry, you shift from when you're first starting, you have people that you really idolize and that you really admire. And you're like, I wish my business or my brand was like theirs. When you stay consistent and you start becoming a influencer and also a moneymaker, your idols and the people that you admire become your colleagues. So when they become your colleagues, you can start collaborating with your colleagues and participating in the programs and events that they're having, and vice versa. So your goal, so when I knew that was happening, I knew that I could ask for a little bit more than I could previously ask for. I knew that we could make some connections and collaborate together, something that I was previously unable to do because my brand was not where I wanted it to be. But once you start being consistent, you can start asking for things and people will start saying yes.
Absolutely. YES, and we love yes. Hey, Sade, we want to thank you so much for coming on, and wow, you're just amazing. Your tips are awesome. Thank you for having me on your Build It Brand Summit. I was proud to be one of the 40 something people that you interviewed, and just you're just all that. And I'm really, really proud. I've seen you grow in just the time that I, met you on Blab.
Oh, yeah, there has been a lot of growth within that time span.
Yeah.
It's going to continue to happen. And I definitely want to invite you back. We'll be doing some other things together. And definitely we want to hear your story again. My audience is looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, we're like this now. And it was so great to see you live and in action, in your element, looking beautiful. And you rocked it, girl. I know you're proud of yourself. You should be, because you certainly did do a fantabulous job. Keep on taking those gorgeous pictures. I love looking at, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's got another picture. So good job. And again, thank you for being one of my featured guests on the Talk Show Maven Show.
Thank you so much.
All right, Sade, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to be back with the one and only Willie Crawford. And I can't wait. So, Willie, get ready. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back with Willie. And then guess what? We're going to have none other than Parrish Michelle Blair with her sizzling hot tips that you just can't wait to hear. I know. So coming up right after that is Willie Crawford. But first, it's time to take a very, very quick commercial break, and we will be back right after.
Hi, I am Roberto. You are listening the talk show Maven Tonight Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, time to turn it up. We've got more exciting guests, more fun, and more surprises. So, welcome back to the Talk Show Maven Tonight Show with celebrity interviewer, award-winning host, the queen of interview marketing and conversion, Raven Blair Glover.
My goodness, it's time for another superstar. Welcome back to the Talk Show Maven Show. We're going to dive right into it. And oh, by the way, we're going to pull a name at the end, so stay tuned. A name of one lucky winner that's going to win a full page ad in my, let me just come on camera for 1 second and show you guys this, because you're actually going to get a full page ad in our Amazing Women magazine. That's Lisa Sasevich, the one and only Lisa Sasevich on the cover. You're going to be in our next edition, which will be January 2017. Very perfect time to get a full page ad on your product. So stay tuned at the end of the show, and we will call your name. And as you see your name, you hear your name, you will call the number that I give out. But now I want to bring this gentleman on that you're looking at. His name is Willie Crawford. And Willie started an online business, believe it or not, in 1996 while still in the U.S. Air Force. Since then, he has developed into one of the premier online marketing experts, and he focuses on teaching local brick and mortar businesses how to harness their power of the internet. Now that you've seen this man everywhere, CBS News, Fox, NBC, ABC, and now he's right here on the Talk Show Maven. Yes, Tonight Show. I'm so excited. I had a chance, I think, to interview you, Willie, back in 2009, 2010, something like that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Raven. Yeah, I think it was around 2009, and I thoroughly enjoyed the interview, and I've actually seen a lot of your products and your interviews since then, so I'm impressed with what you're doing out there.
Oh, thank you. I learned a lot from you for sure, because when I interviewed you, I was just getting started. I think I had Kitchen Table Radio, and I want to say, what's it? Turn your telephone to the cash cow. That was the extent of my product,
Okay.
But what made me reach out to you back then was you had this cookbook, and I'm trying to bring this book. Actually, I got the picture of the book, but guess what? It's sideways. So I don't think anybody can talk about it. But let me see. Let me turn sideways. If everybody just lean your head to the left, you can see it. It says Soul Food Recipes. Now, what made you decide to do that book?
Well, back around 97, 98, one of my mentors said you need to come up with a product something that your audience can connect with. And I thought, well, all I really know is what I grew up doing, which was cooking on the farm. And so I threw together like about 250 recipes of stuff that I grew up cooking on the farm, just typed it out in Microsoft Word and printed a cookbook up. And people loved it. It's still selling today quite well.
Now, here's a picture of you in the kitchen. Big kitchen. What you cooking over there? I smell biscuits.
That actually is a mastermind group that I hang out with in Tampa, and that kitchen is not my house. That's a $12.3 million house, and I hung out in the kitchen there. And anytime I go to Tampa, I feel free to drop by there and mastermind with those folks. But they had a full chef staff there, and I just helped fix the kitchen.
Wow, it looks delicious. It definitely does. Now, let me see this picture that I see here of you. Is this the group, the mastermind group?
No,
Is,
that's on the marketers cruise. Every
oh,
January, we go on a cruise, and there's like 300 or 400 marketers, and so those are some of the fairly well-known marketers. And so we're out cruising in the middle of the Caribbean, and we can't avoid getting on the internet. So we sneaked away to the one place you could connect the internet and pay a lot of money to connect while you're in the middle of the ocean, and that's where we took this picture. But it's like we're workaholics.
wow. Well, yeah, it looks like it, you guys are having a good time there. Now, let me see. That's the that cruise that Captain. What's that guy's name?
Captain Lou is the
Uh,
cruise coordinator. Mike Same is the one who actually
yeah,
put it together.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I helped Mike
yeah,
get
yeah.
started actually many years ago.
Wow, colleague and I have often wanted to go there for sure. I know we got a lot to talk about in a very short time, so I'm going to dive right in. I know
Sure.
we wanted to focus on. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to focus on tapping into your hidden business assets. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, what are hidden business assets?
Well, I see so many businesses online and offline struggling, just trying to make ends meet. And what they don't realize is they have things that are just sitting there and they're not using them, whether it's excess capacity on your server, if you're online business, or warehouse space, or your delivery truck, or just products and services that you're not selling and that you have just sitting there, maybe thinking about liquidating if you're an offline business, and yet they have value to some people. One man's trash is another man's treasure, and so they sit there. Businesses struggle with, how do I make ends meet when they've got all this money sitting there that they're not using. Yeah, that they're actually, whether it's goods or services. You have a lot of people who their main product is their services, their expertise. Whether it's a chiropractor who has an extra 5 or 10 hours a week that he's not using, and he could leverage that somehow. People would be willing to pay for that, and he could turn that into money without selling it directly. So it's recognizing the value of what you have that you haven't tapped into yet.
Love it, love it. Okay, so how often are businesses, especially small business owners, how often are we really missing this? I mean, we're really just not even looking. Is this something that's pretty common when
I
you
think
talk to
it's
your clients?
extremely common. I think it's extremely common. I mean, I I walk down the main street in my hometown and I see restaurants struggling, I see nightclubs struggling, I see furniture stores struggling, and I see online businesses struggling. And I go, you don't recognize what you have. If you're a restaurant, why not turn your unused space into money somehow? Rent the place out or do something with it. And online internet marketers have lots of talents and skills, and yet they don't. That they're linear thinkers. They don't think, how can I take what I do have and what people value, and make money out of it, or at least use it to leverage uh, how much I can earn. And it's really about, to me, about conserving cash, because cash flow is one of the bigger problems that businesses have, and
Mhm.
turning what I do have into something that is of value, actually creating your own alternative currency, really. But that's the way I see the world.
Wow. Well, I know for a fact with me, when I first started getting into business, and I was so working toward starting new, creating a new product, doing this new, and then finally, I think we were on a call, my husband and I, and that's when I realized that we were missing the boat. We weren't really looking at what we already had produced. It was just sitting there, and we needed to learn to not always start new. Do you find that most small business owners, Willie, they're too busy creating new stuff and they're not looking at what they already have?
Absolutely, absolutely. When I look at like internet marketers, that's where I'm best known as the internet marketing space. And I
Mm-hmm.
look at the fact that anybody's been online more than about a year and a half, 2 years. They know so much that others would be happily willing to pay to learn from. And not only that, but we go out and we buy all these products and services. We buy resale rights, we buy all this stuff, and we never use it. I've got a hard drive full of software and all kinds of stuff. And it's just a matter of actually turning around and selling it, or if not selling it, repurposing it, and then exchanging it for something of value that we want. So you have lots of hidden value, lots of hidden currency there that you're not tapping into, and you struggle. Your business struggles and often fails when you've got all this money, all this currency you're sitting on that you're not using.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing is you talk about also is bartering. What do you mean by that?
Well, bartering in the old days, bartering is the oldest form of currency there is. It's I'll trade you my goat for your chickens, or my goat for several chickens.
For your chickens.
Yeah, but we have formal barter exchanges now where you don't necessarily have to trade what you have to somebody directly. You trade for credits, and then it's like a bank, and you get credits, and then you turn around and trade your credits in for things that you need for your business. So maybe you're a chiropractor and you offer your extra hours for so many credits, and then you turn around and trade those credits in for things you need, like advertising, for janitorial services, for printing, for whatever. But you don't have to trade directly anymore because now we have formal exchanges. And I've been a member of one for about 6 years now, and do quite well with it. It's another form of currency, actually stronger than the U.S. dollar right now.
Wow, really? Wow.
Well,
mm-hmm.
In '74, President Nixon took us off the gold standard. So there actually is nothing back in the U.S. dollar except the trust of the citizens in the value of the dollar. It's just a promise. And so I'm on an exchange where at least you have products and services backing the value of what you're trading. So it's your own currency, and yet your time, your knowledge, your expertise, your products and services, your software, all those things have real value. So if you recognize that, and you can tap into it, and there's no real need to struggle. You could just trade with other businesses in a formal structure.
Yeah. Trade and barter. And I know there's many times, especially starting out, I didn't have money for websites. I didn't have money for a lot of stuff. And I remember making a list, kind of, how we used to do in school, draw a line down a piece of paper, and I would put on there what I needed on one side and what was a fair exchange on the other. And then what I did is because I started new, I went and I Googled people that, did websites, people that, did branding, people that did marketing. And I started from the back of Google and worked up because I knew I most likely needed to find someone that was just at the same level as me or a little bit higher, if I was going to do a barter, that because I always look at who's more likely to say yes than no. Okay. And so I felt like if I found someone that was on my level or just a little bit above, that it would be a win-win for each other. And that's how I got my websites and stuff done for years,
Yes, and that makes perfect sense. Although a lot of people undervalue their knowledge, their skills. I mean, someone who might be higher level than you will still deal with you because what you have that they don't have is time. So still they'll deal with you. But
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I think I was between me and you. I think I was just chicken.
Yeah, you got to be bold enough to reach out and say, hey, I've got these skills. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't do my own graphics. I know how. I don't do my own programming. I know PHP and C++, but I get someone else to do that for me, and I don't pay cash for most of it. I have things that other people want, so I'm very big into barter.
Love it, love it. And I think everybody that's listening, go out there and do it. I always say, if you don't ask, you will not get. And that's what I believe now. So I've come a long ways, baby. Ain't no shame in my game now, but back then it definitely was. And like you said, I just undervalued myself and what I had. But and I think that's a big mistake many of us make, like you were saying. And
Yes, I mean, even if you're like 6 months into the game, you're ahead of somebody who's 1 month into the game. So you know more than somebody else does, and they're willing to pay for what you know, whether it's to pay cash or to somehow trade some time, some service or good for it. So that's what barter's all about. Although I'm in a world where it's more formalized now, because when you barter one-on-one, if I'm a graphic artist, I've got to find someone who wants my service, and they'll pay me with something I need. But if you do it on a formal exchange, you don't need to match up the services one-on-one. You can tap into actually literally tens of thousands of people all in one club or one organization who you list what you have for sale, and somebody buys it, because one man's trash is another man's treasure. And then you find something that you need. I get things like dental services and legal, not legal, paralegal services on barter. If I need a contract drawn up or I need a LLC set up, I don't pay cash for it. I reach out in the barter network and get it done for that. And I do something in exchange, which is usually just my consultations.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, we want to thank you for being here. I so appreciate you coming on, and give everybody a way they can connect with you.
Sure. My name is Willie Crawford, so they can connect with me at willie.crawford@gmail.com. I'm very reachable there. Actually, somebody who really, is interested in what I do and my topic, they can even phone me at my phone and text number 850-621-2116. Not many people give their phone number out, but I'm real, I'm reachable. I like working with people who are serious. And so just phone me, or don't phone me, text me first, 850-621-2116.
Absolutely. Text them first. All right. Well, thank you again for coming on. There you guys have it. I mean, none other than the world-renowned internet marketer guru. Yes, I'm talking about Willie, of course. Don't get it twisted. Willie Crawford. Check him out. He's all that and then some. And I so appreciate you coming on the show. It's just been great having you. And so does everybody else. Woo!
Thank you, Raven.
Yay! Right here on the Talk Show Maven Show. Thank you, Willie. You just heard from Willie Crawford. You heard from Sade, Hadu, and of course Steve Usher. And now it's time for Parrish Blair, Michelle Blair. Don't get it twisted. Right here on the Talk Show Maven Show. And we're gonna give her claps now. Yay!
Thank you.
All right, all right. Parrish, welcome to the show. I know we got a lot of little slides. I'm gonna need your help with them. Because Parrish likes to paint a story. We paint a picture when she's on for sure. So Parrish, welcome. How you doing?
I'm happy to be here. We've got a lot to cover.
Well, like Khalik says, love the throwback afro. Looking good, looking good, looking good.
Thank you. Thank
What
you.
made you decide to go that style? It looks good on you.
Well, I was growing my hair out, and I cut quite a bit of length off, and I loved messing around with like the hair pieces and everything. But I started looking at my own hair and thought I should just cut off the rest of the length that I'm waiting, to trim off little by little. And, you know, I didn't know how I was going to wear my hair, but then after I cut it off and I took a shower and let it dry naturally, I had like a, it was all poofy and it looked like it was leaning towards an afro. So I was like, okay, I'll work it. And so I go back and forth.
Worked it. You
Yeah.
absolutely worked it. Well, welcome to the show. Now, I know we're going to be talking about what's our topic today? I went completely blank. Oh my God.
Well, this is the entrepreneur's guide. This is the entrepreneur's guide to intimacy. I
Yeah.
think that there's a special need for I think a special need that entrepreneurs have because there's there's a path that we're going on that most people can't relate to. They don't know that what it's like to wake up every day and the vision that you're going after, nobody can see and nobody believes it but you. So we have this intense focus. That's one thing that entrepreneurs or visionaries have in common. And then sometimes we can be workaholics, especially if we're doing what we love. And so there's that part of you that if your mate is not on that same page with you and they're not really able to appreciate where you're coming from, if you don't create this intimacy where you guys can reconnect and find the vibration that you really do flow in, then one mate could feel like the other mate's dragging them down, and the other mate could feel like that the other mate is never available, but when you have that intimacy and you really understand the mind of the person that you love or the mind of the person that you're creating a bond with, a lot of insecurities go away. So the most important thing that I can stress about building intimacy is, of course, honest communication. But you can't communicate if you've got your cell phone on, and I don't even recommend that when people say, well, let's do our romantic date night, like Friday date, let's go out to dinner. That can be intimate, but you've got the waiter interrupting you. You've got the the external noise of other people's conversations, and it does take. I mean, there's sometimes where everybody just goes away, even though it might be crowded and noisy. When you're really into somebody, everybody disappears, but you can't bank on that when you're trying to build an intimate space. So I would say, save the romantic dinners for later and create the intimacy in the space that's very sacred to you and that person, like in the bed, like staying in the bed longer and talking to each other before you just jump up and start checking phones and running out the door. And talk about what your dreams were. What did you dream last night? And just hold each other and feel each other's heartbeats beat together before you leave. And then if you create that intimate space with the men that have concerns, about their women being powerful, moving around, running in circles with other people, and they might feel like, well, how do I know she's staying focused on me? And the same thing goes for women. How do I know my man's staying focused on our relationship? There's all this sexuality everywhere. How do I know he's there for me? If you're loving that person and creating that intimate space in that way that only you guys know about, and it's real because it's not just the way you make each other feel, it's what you say in those moments, and you're looking in each other's eyes. Again, no distractions, no anything. You're not going to be insecure about what's happening when they're gone. You're going to feel like you're connected to that person. And that person, more than likely, it doesn't matter how big the booty is or how famous the person is or whatever. Nobody's arms fit around them like yours do. No one knows those secret things that they say late at night when you stay up all night talking. That to me is a good foundation for intimacy. So it takes, don't think about your budget. The kids have got to sleep sometime. So there's no excuse. You can build a little bit at a time, even if it's only 3 minutes of intimacy. And then because you love it so much, when you want something, you find the time to do it. But it's a good time to start as an entrepreneur. I'm stressing that because sometimes while we're building our vision, it's very common that people lose their relationships, and it's because there's not that space for them to stay connected. It happened to me, and it's not the happiest point in my life. There's good, and how you can find the good in everything, but I would have much rather stay with my husband. That would have been, but without the intimacy and without the communication, instead of growing together and celebrating each other on our journey, one mate felt like they were being left behind. The other, and for me in my situation, I felt like why can't you be interested in things I'm interested in? We didn't have an intimate space. We didn't create that with you. We had one early on, but it just kind of disappeared along the way from work schedules and kids, just stuff happened to where we just got out of the habit. And then years later, that was a vulnerable space. So the other thing is your intimate time is also a time to rejuvenate yourself. You know how sometimes you could feel like you're on the verge of, that's where I was talking about, we're done with them, Raven. Those are the people where we're saying, don't go out to eat when you're wanting intimate space. Okay, yes, I love this picture. To me, that tells a story of their energy together is rejuvenating. It seems like they have life together.
Yeah, they look so happy.
But there's times I remember,
they're older too. Yay for the happy older folks.
Yes. I was keeping in mind, that I'm speaking to baby boomers. So, I wanted to mention that I remember early on in our relationship, we would just laugh together, just like in the intimate space, we would be laughing. And sometimes, although I'm saying don't go out, don't have distractions, sometimes we would still those intimate moments at the grocery store, or just, times where you feel like maybe you felt burnt out and tired at the end of the day, but you could go, lay your head on your mate's lap and they could rub your head and you feel like you could conquer the world. So that intimacy also is a center for you to rejuvenate your spirit. And I think that's important. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Okay. I forgot I picked that one. Wait a minute. Hold up.
I like. Khalid, that one looks good, baby. In the tub. Yeah. So tell us about this.
Okay, all right. So what I wanted to say before going to this is that it's really good to have the intimacy and communication, but understand that that's not a romantic date. We're not talking about, now you can find those intimate moments in a romantic date or date night, but that's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about that space where you become one. Mm. So in the intimate space before getting into foreplay, because sometimes people think, oh, you're talking about foreplay. No, we're not talking about foreplay. I can guarantee you're going to get your mate to put out. I was trying to think of a PG-13 way to say it. You're going to get your mate to put out exactly what you're desiring if you have intimacy, because intimacy creates a space where it's not for sex. It's just to be close. But if you're close and you have that communication and you guys are breathing in a calm manner and the sensuality is building, then that's where foreplay just naturally comes in. Nobody's like, yeah, okay, what are you ordering tonight? What do you want? Hurry up, let's get this over with. It's the intimacy came first, then the foreplay leads into amazing sex. And then as an entrepreneur, and I know this applies to everyone, but specifically I'm talking to my soul partners as entrepreneurs. When you have the good sexual release and you have the good connection and you have that grounding of your mate there, you can reach for the stars. You can conquer. I feel that way when I have a good love-centered love life. I feel like I can conquer even more than I can do by myself, because it's a rejuvenation all the time. It's renewed energy, and when you're being connected and sexual with someone, it makes you feel alive. It makes you automatically feel, hey, my what is it? Oh goodness, you've appreciated. Every time you made a connection, because that shouldn't be always your validation, but it does have something to do with it. When somebody, I might think, oh, my afro looks kind of cute tonight, but when I get that compliment, when I get that compliment, it just validates what I already know, which makes me feel even better. So again, intimacy. And one of the things that I wanted to stress is it's not only about romantic relationships. You can have make sure you have that intimate time as family. That's the time where kids can open up and tell you what's happening at school. Intimate time with your parents, intimate time with the people who work for you, who work for your companies. Are you spending that intimate time making them feel comfortable? They can say, they know you're busy. They don't want to bother you, but, somebody in their family may have had a health challenge but that intimate time where you're making eye contact and you're making time for someone with the phone down for a minute,
Yeah,
that's
like
a
this.
big
Don't
thing.
be like
Yeah.
this lady here. Like, okay, intimate.
Yeah.
Let me just check my phone a little bit
Do
here.
you do that, Raven? Do you do that?
Yeah, not when we're like that. Oh no, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not checking no
Yeah.
phone then, but I will say at the restaurants, I can be here and Khalik will be here. Like these people eating dinner here, but we
Mhm.
may have our phones close by. We started to get really better at leaving our phones or at least not
Yeah.
looking at them. Because I
But
want more times like this.
if you know that you eat, yeah, if you know that when you're eating, that's the time you guys chop up business, and you're wanting to rest, but you kind of don't
Yes,
use those times to don't because then it's like, what's wrong with our relationship? Why can't we be connected while we're eating? Well, that you guys eating is not like maybe another couple where they're relaxed and chill. You're both entrepreneurs. You guys eat and work at the same time, so that's not the time. It means that you got to put forth effort to brush your teeth together. I mean, it doesn't have to be in the bed. It could be,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It could be all the
yeah.
things that you can find. You don't need to do it like for hours, just a good
Just
10
have that
minutes of
connection.
connecting with someone. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it when a colleague and I, we're busy in the morning and then he comes through the studio to go out my studio to his studio and he just passes and he comes over to my desk and he says, and I'm like, melt
That's awesome.
in the
Yeah,
middle of the day or at the beginning of the day or we walk past each other and he pulls me in. I love it when he pulls me in, baby. Pull me in, baby.
right.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to say too, use your intimacy, use your the center of your heart as a barometer to help you balance your work and your pleasure. Because if you're always working and then you tell yourself, "Oh, my pleasure is I've helped so many people or I've written so many books and I'm blessing so many." That's like saying, "I don't need to eat. I've served everybody else and I smelled the food and everybody's happy." You can only exist on that for so long, and then you're going to have a deficiency issue showing up. So make sure that it's not all work. Even if you're working to help other people, that's not the receiving part of it. The receiving part is when you allow yourself to be in a moment where it's just pleasure, whatever your pleasure is. But try to
What does
find
this
pleasure that's
cherish
not
here?
associated with work.
What
Yes.
does this represent here?
Well, I look at that as intimacy. I see that heart to heart connection. I see that there's trust
Oh,
there.
okay. Mm-hmm.
I see that, they're feeling comfortable to be vulnerable. And I think the intimate moments are great because nobody feels comfortable being vulnerable these days. There's, especially with social media, you can just put up a facade or you can cuss somebody out and block them. You don't have to be connected to people as much as you used to before to feel like you have a bond with someone. So now some people have bonds. Like I truly love my social media fans that follow me. I do, but do I know them? Do we have an intimate moment? Probably not. I don't know them like that. So in that imagery, to me, I just saw pure connection, human to human connection, heart to heart space, and being vulnerable and leaning on. They're both, to me, leaning into each other, which to me expresses trust.
Absolutely. Well, listen, sweetie, our time is up. And you know what? I'm so glad that you're part of our show. You're our sex, what is it? Love, sex, and happiness expert.
Love, sex, and happiness
You
expert. And I
got me.
just want to
You
let
got
everybody
me.
know. I
Uh-huh.
just
Go
want to
ahead.
let everybody know that they can follow me on Parish Michelle Blair on Facebook, and tomorrow is date night, and we're gonna just reflect on some of the things that we talked about tonight, so we can keep this conversation going, Raven, and then we'll get the Friday night date people to tune in. So for next week, we can think of what some questions are they have going on. So tune in tomorrow night, and we'll be talking about date night, and some of these things that we talked about tonight will apply, but I always love being a part of this show. Every week it gets better and better, and I'm so proud of you, Raven. You're awesome. If people only knew what happens behind the scenes, that there would be.
For real. Well, thank you so much. You hold on when you're going to dance out with me. Thank you,
Okay.
Sade Adu. Thank you, Willie Crawford.
I'm
Thank you.
dancing. I don't even hear the music yet.
Thank you, Steve Alsher. Thank you to my handsome husband and engineer, Khalik Glover. And thank each and every one of you. But wait a minute, we got to pull a name of
Oh yeah.
someone that is a winner. And I actually think we got kicked off of Facebook Live. I'm thinking, because I'm not seeing us on here. So I'm just going to pull a name of someone that was on because of, I guess, about 30 minutes ago, it was this real strange psychedelic thing going on, and I think that probably could kick us out, but we're still taping, so that's the good news. So let me just go on here and see who we have and pull a name, and we'll go from there. So who do we have? I know I can't pronounce his last name, but his first name is Troy. So Troy, if you hear me, give me a call at 818-835-9601. And I can't pronounce your last name, and you are a winner for our full page ad on the Amazing Women magazine. And not to worry, we have amazing men as well. And the good news is that's going to be in January. So it's going to be a perfect time, Troy. So give me a call at 818-835-9601. I'll be here for another 20 minutes after the show. We got to rush on out because Facebook only gives you 90 minutes, and we're right at our 90 minutes. So here we go. Are you ready to dance? Are you ready to dance? Are you ready to dance?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right, everyone. That's a wrap. I'm Raven, the talk show Maven, and me and Sweet Pea here are going to dance our way out of here. We appreciate you coming. This is a talk show Maven show, guys. That's a wrap. We'll see you soon. Stay tuned. Thank you for all of our guests. We
Love and light.
Love and light. Be sure to check out Parish tomorrow. Leave the kids at home. That's all I can tell you. Leave the kids at home. Here we go, everyone. That's a wrap. Bye-bye.
Be sure to join us next week for the Talk Show Maven Tonight Show for more interviews, celebrity news, and business reviews, along with a whole lot of fun and surprises. Live each and every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. If you would like Raven to help you create a powerful and profitable show around your passion or heartfelt message, simply give her a call at 800-431-0842. That's 800-431-0842. You can catch all of Raven's popular shows by going to facebook.com/TalkShowMavenLiveTV. See you next week.